kick this off. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to your next breakout session. I'm Sarah Bradstreet, and I am in the business development team for commercial interiors here at Configura. And with us today is Christi McMillan with Hayworth, and she will be talking to us about designing for architecture and furniture together. One quick housekeeping item. I know you've probably heard this once before, but we are using Zoom webinar for this breakout session, so you will not be able to unmute your microphone or turn on your webcam. This is to avoid background noise and put less strain on the internet connection. But of course, you will be able to participate. So you'll notice at the bottom of your screen a Q&A button and a chat button. Here's when to use one or the other. So put any questions you have for Christi in the Q&A and save the chat for saying hi or making a comment. If you would like your microphone to be unmuted to ask a question at the end of the session, please use the raise your hand functionality in the participants window, and we can communicate that way. And then as a reminder, at the end of this, in the CETX briefcase, you will be able to get your CEUs. You will find my initials SB and drag them in to your attendance card. So Christi, feel free to take it away.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you everybody for joining me today. So like Sarah said, the session is on designing with architecture and furniture together, and my name is Christi McMillan. I am an SME in architectural interior systems. So those are just really fancy words for walls and pods. My main role is designing and coordinating the development of architectural systems in CET for manufacture. And then I train all you lovely designers and salespeople on the products and tools that are available to design with. So just a little more about me. Some of you may have just noticed from my accent, I am a Canadian. And I am coming to you today from the beautiful Rocky Mountains in Western Canada. Although it's not a very beautiful day today, it is already getting snowy here. I love adventures of all kinds. Anything from exploring just a new idea to trying a new food or exploring a new part of the world. And although COVID has really grounded me, it's also offered me new opportunities to explore my own backyard and a whole new way of thinking of things and doing of things that I can learn and explore. So the workplace today is constantly evolving as new technologies emerge, improvements, methods improve, and economies fluctuate. As designers, we need to be aware of how these are changing our clients' workplaces, work styles, so that we can better adapt our own design styles to better suit the needs of our clients. So over the last 100 years, we've come a long way in how we work and how we use the space we work in. We've gone from large open spaces filled with desks, private offices, to the cubicle, and then back to open spaces again. The advancement of computers for individual and collaborative work, different lighting systems, advancements in HVAC systems and furniture have all evolved and impacted how we use and how we design space. And of course, the big one, COVID's changed everything across the world. Everybody is feeling this. Where we work, how we move through a space, how you interact with others, and what you wear to go to work. Trends are starting to go towards collaboration within closed spaces with enhanced comfort and technology integration. Large tables with fewer chairs, cleanable surfaces, sanitizer stations, and of course, supporting social distancing. Take a moment to think about your own workspace and how you work now. My personal workspace and style has completely changed. I used to travel all the time and we have in-person sessions, and now I am completely grounded. I work from home to do my individual work, and I go into the office when I want to have that collaborative sessions with people and interact. I have to sign in to an assessment app just to go into the space. And then I have to make sure that I have my PPE on to go into the space. Whoever thought that working in an office that you would be required to have PPE? I certainly did not. How we view interior architecture has also evolved a great deal over the past decades. We've gone from that traditional gypsum board construction to demountable wall systems and now into architectural pod systems, changing how we view and use interior architecture within our spaces. In the past, the world of interior architecture and furniture has really been a very segregated world. We sell them separately, we design them separately, we order them separately, and we install them separately. Walls are seen as part of the core, while furniture is a finishing product. Planning of all of our interior architecture out separately from the function of the furniture. With the advancements in product integration we are seeing today in the architectural pods and demountable systems, those lines are getting really blurred and allowing us to create a more functional, dynamic, and reconfigurable space that can easily adapt to the rapid changes that our clients are experiencing. So in this presentation, I'm going to walk you through the different ways in which designing interior architecture and furniture in mind can be beneficial to you, where to begin when designing with both types of products, and finally, some of those tools that are available to you to aid you in your designs. So incorporating the furniture and the architectural products into a design together can show the breadth of the product offerings, the versatility of the products, and the strength of the design when planned with both architectural products and furniture in mind. As designers, showing the architectural products in the space, whether it's a gypsum board, demountable walls, or a pod system in context to the furniture allows for a higher level of space planning. And in our post-COVID world, this is especially important in determining this, the distancing within the space. This also allows you to plan how the products interact with one another. Are there hanging overheads, televisions, monitors? Where is the power located to support that computer or plug in that adjustable desk? How do you work and function with these things together? Are there sizing restrictions to the space that the television or the overhead or the desk needs to connect to? This also lets you start talking through those types of details with your clients, whether you are supplying all those products or not. The conversation should be had to ensure the client's needs are met. Figure out what those mounting needs are. Where is their power located? How are you going to connect those workstations into the building power? All of those things need to be asked about, whether you're specifying it or designing it all or not. Showing how the products can integrate together gives you a better selling point and makes our designs more functional. There's also the opportunity to talk about the other products that are available to you. Showing them how the TV can be hung on the architectural product. How can they interact together? Maybe they don't know those things. It's a great opportunity to promote the other products and types of things that are available to them, such as, demountable walls or an architectural pods that can utilize more space for the clients. They can reduce waste, reduce your installation times, provide an adaptable space that holistically integrates both your furniture and technology into the space and has a higher ROI than a traditional gypsum construction. Promoting these products can also offer an opportunity to get in on the project earlier, cultivating a relationship with the client with architectural products, and then to offer a complete space with the furniture, showing off the ability and the benefits of integrating the furniture into the plan. In my time in designing, we've worked on multiple projects where we've bid on the demountable walls with our furniture, just even shown for context or for renderings, kind of give you the idea of what's going on in the space. But it was the ability to show that and talk through how the integration and the benefits of putting both together that sold them not just on our walls, but on the furniture as well, and brought them back to us for additional projects. Never underestimate that value of a repeat customer. COVID has made a huge change in how we work and will forever impact how we interact and use the space. Incorporation of vertical surfaces within a space can offer a simple way to adapt our client spaces into social distancing and a multitude of finishes that support frequent cleaning, as well as antimicrobial surfaces and a variety of options for low-touch door operation. The integration of both the architectural products and the furniture in the plan can be a unique and cost-effective way of adapting the existing spaces for return to work initiatives. There are a multitude of products out there that allow you to design more functional, creative, and cost-effective designs for our clients, and ultimately help us increase our business. And don't be afraid to break away from the traditional ways of creating a space. As humans, we have a tendency to default to what we know. And of course, you don't know what you don't know. So check out some of those products that are available to you, and don't be afraid to suggest them. Our clients often don't know what they don't know either. And I know what you're thinking. There are so many different products out there that are used in so many different ways, and I already have so many to know and understand. Where do I even start with this? The first thing you need to know is that you don't need to know everything about all the products that are out there. You just need to know that A, they exist, and where to go and find information on it when you're ready to. And that all starts with the plan of your project. So the majority of manufacturers out there are now offering demountable wall systems and or pod systems, either directly from them or through a partnership, that can be used to create space and integrate with furniture into your design. Architectural products offer a unique way to create collaborative or focused spaces without disrupting a base building, with an added ability to be reconfigured with minimal product or labor required, making it a quick, inexpensive way to adapt a space to changes. To find information on the products offered to you, go to your manufacturer's website, use Google, find out what's out there, take a look. There's a ton of information out there that just doing a simple search on Google will help find for you. So there are tons of products that are offered, and I would challenge all of you to spend a little time and look at those different products that are offered by your various manufacturers. Many of those with CET extension. On the screen, there is a list of manufacturers that already have CET extensions and offer architectural products. There are some really beautiful solutions out there that are breaking the mold of how we create space. And don't be afraid to talk to your coworkers or get support from your manufacturer to learn more about those products that are offered and how to specify them. There are a lot of great resources out there that can help you learn more, not just about the products, but how to add them into your drawing. And you might get super lucky and they may have things like some templates or favorites and reusable files for you that you could just plop right into your drawing and manipulate as needed. And once you know the types of products that are available to you, then the client space is the next place to go to determine the best products for your design by looking at the client space. So things like how many people are within the space? What are the different areas being used for? Is it a focus space? Is it a library, a training room, a meeting room, call center? Is there a lot of collaborative work? Are there agile workers? Do they have assigned desks? What are the growth rates? Of course, recently, a lot of places have seen a huge fluctuation. Either it's a huge decline or a huge increase of employees and working styles. COVID has definitely changed everything. What are the technology needs? Do they have TVs? How much power is needed at each workstation? Do they have multiple monitors? Are they height adjustable desks? Where do these all connect into that building power? How is everything going to work? Technology especially is a huge part of our workplace now, and being able to support things like plugging in multiple monitors, a laptop, a cell phone, a tablet, or various other devices is really important when thinking not just about your workstation, but the space the workstation is in, or where the focus room is, or is there enough for multiple people to plug in? Thinking about those things. And of course, speech privacy is another one that's really big right now. What are their speech privacy requirements? Can they handle a big open space, or do you need to start blocking things? And a vertical surface can help you do that. Also looking at the space in general will also help you determine what's best suited for the design. So look at the building. Is it a new construction? Is it old construction? How level are the floors? You know, especially with architectural product, that can play a huge role if it connects into the floor in the ceiling. How level is that floor? Are there seismic requirements? Is it in a seismic zone like California? Are there building restrictions, like can you cut product on the floor, or does it need to be done in another location? What is the building access like? How do you get things in the building? Do you have to carry it upstairs? Is there an elevator? How big is that elevator? How big is that stairwell? Do people have to carry things upstairs? That is going to change how and what you specify. Once you've started narrowing down those client needs and those site restrictions, you'll be able to narrow down what of those products that are available to you would be best suited for the client and the particular needs of the design. So when planning, it is important to show all the products on the plan. Whether you are supplying them or not, they are all important. If you're only supplying the architectural products, at least including a visual representation of the furniture gives context for the use of the space, shows the spacing and sizing for the space planning, can provide the sizing for furniture if mounting on the product. It may need to have additional bracing specified to secure anything being mounted on it, such as overheads or TVs. Provide placement locations for electrical devices. If you're only supplying the furniture, the architectural product gives context to the space, allows for accurate space planning, provides restrictions to the space, and it shows sizing again for those mounting specifications, like am I mounting that overhead? What is it being mounted on? Do I need to provide extra things? Thinking through those things. Basically, you only get half the information when only one is being shown. When working with both types of products in a design, the plan is going to be more detailed, and it may include elements you may not be used to thinking about, such as how the architectural products interact with the base building. Does it get clipped into the ceiling? Does it have to screw to the floor? What's the ceiling height? Does it have a varying height? What are all of those requirements? Does it even connect to the base building? There are additional details, elevations, dimensionings, notes, base building elements that will be required on a plan when incorporating both of them together. Whether you're designing the architectural product or not, plan in the plan yourself, or if someone else is, working together and applying both in a drawing will help ensure the product works together, and the plan communicates all necessary information clearly to the design team, the client, and the installation teams. And I just wanted to bring up here that we did have a question last time about file sizes, about having both in there, especially if you have a project that might have a whole bunch of workstations. It does start to make your drawing really heavy. Incorporating both in a plan might be something as simple as exporting out, keeping your furniture and your architectural products in two separate drawings, and maybe you export that after you apply revisions, export the architectural drawing out to a 2D CAD and use that for your base building for your furniture plan. Or you might, after each revisions, marry them up later into a plan for your checking and printing out plans, so that it reduces your file sizes and makes it easier to work with both products, but keeping them somehow together, whether that's through an export or marrying together at some point, is important, not just for checking purposes, but presentations and your plans and your layouts as well, showing them together. But to make it easier, sometimes it's better to work with them separately to make it more manageable for yourself. Showing both can also be that wow factor that the client is looking for. The visual impact of a plan or a rendering, displaying the entirety of a design, and seeing how the furniture and the architecture can be integrated and reconfigured together to create high-performing spaces can set your design apart from the rest, especially in COVID times where not being able to go to a place or see a mock-up or have these tours really makes the importance of having a well-rounded rendering and having an experience with your client more important now than it ever was. So let's talk about CET tools now that are there to help you. So CET does offer a variety of tools to aid in your designs if the product is within a manufacturer extension or not. So check out your manufacturer's extensions. If you don't already have access to them, check out what's out there. You might find something you don't know about. Several manufacturers have already added their architectural products to CET already in their extensions, and more are being added all the time, such as SnapCab. OFS just released Obeya. Our My Manufacturer's extension, where we're always releasing more. And of course, CET is always working to expand their platforms, to improve their tools that are available to you, to create new architectural extensions and develop new and improved tools to design with. So keep up to date with your manufacturer's updates as well. Always check out what's going on. They're always improving too. And keep an eye on CET briefcases for announcements on updates. 11.5 is coming out right away. So pay attention, especially to the briefcases, to find out what's coming up with the new core update 11.5. And then let's take a look at what's available. So CET is compatible with many programs. Hey, weren't we just talking about that this morning? So these products, if you're wanting to specify a product that does not already exist in a CET extension, these 4 programs can be utilized to start helping you bring them in and incorporating them into your CET plans. So I'm just going to switch over to CET right now, and we will demonstrate how some of these work for you. So the first one I want to talk about, obviously, is AutoCAD. We should all be using it at least for your base plan already, but there has been a lot of improvements and maybe some things that you don't already know that it can do. So you can import your 2D plan. So here's mine up here at the top of your screen. As we all know, you can, or should know, you can go to your import up here under File. You can also export your drawings as AutoCAD files as well. I'll talk about that in a minute. Or you can go to your Tools extension, and in here under the CAD tools live a ton of different CAD tools for you, so it can be imported through here. Some of these other tools allow you to draw architectural walls based off of your CAD plan. This one's really helpful. It'll draw all your walls for you. Awesome. When I use this tool, or when I'm building up a space, I typically only build up the area if I'm just doing the architectural, so like gypsum walls. I will only build those up for rendering, fly-throughs, using Ulio to create my scene to show what it looks like. So when I do that, I usually only draw my architectural walls that I'm actually going to see within the scene, instead of drawing things up to maybe a closet or a bathroom or something that you're not necessarily going to see. To keep my file size down, makes everything go a little bit faster. So you can use these tools in here to do that, and turning things on and off within your AutoCAD plan. Of course, double-clicking on it will activate your CAD settings dialog, where you can check out your various different files and manage them within the program. It is compatible with both 2D and 3D entities within your program. So we're all pretty familiar with the 2D, but did you know that you can bring in 3D entities as well? So just to show you a little bit what that looks like, it's something I use a lot when I don't have something programmed in there already, but I want to incorporate it into a plan, and I want to take a rendering. I want to show my clients what's actually going to be there. So this here on the lower part of my screen, this is a 3D model that I imported in to my drawing so that I can start placing my furniture in here and get it ready to show a client and demonstrate to them what their actual space would look like and how things work. When you are using a 3D AutoCAD or 2D AutoCAD plan, it is really important to clean your base building or clean your 3D model, whatever you are doing, for a couple of reasons. One, most important, keeps your file size down. 2, you want to get rid of any information that is not imperative to your plan. And 3, it makes your layers manageable. So if you have things that you want to turn on and off in your 2D plan, like you might have electrical symbols in here, you might be showing bulkheads, you might have various other elements that maybe you want to see in one view or are purely just used for reference. Maybe they're construction lines to give you snap points to get your center lines or spacings. But you only want to use that for a certain point and turn them off. If you don't clean your base building, it can be really hard when you get into your layers So for example, my plan here is not fully cleaned. And now I have a whole bunch of layers in here that I don't even know what turns what on at this point. So cleaning your base building gives you the opportunity to really have a lot of control over the functionality of your plan. If you're newer, want to know more about cleaning base buildings or anything to do with AutoCAD or some of these other programs, check out Michael Beal's presentation, I believe on Wednesday, or check out his website. He's got a lot of great stuff and tips and tricks on cleaning CAD buildings and how to do it to make them easier to do work within CET. But the same thing goes with your 3D models. When you bring in a 3D model, you can apply finishes to it like I have here, just like you would if you had been like editing the graphics or something, or creating something custom. You can go into your Material Explorer and you can actually come in here and you can apply finishes to it. But if you notice over here in the quick properties, that is actually a list of all the layers that exist on my model. If I hadn't cleaned this, and believe me, I've tried to do this with a model I haven't cleaned, that had probably 50 layers, and man, did it take me forever to even apply a finish to it. So it really makes it easier in here, and I've named my layers to the particular object that it belongs to, so I can easily navigate through here and apply finishes to things. Something else that is important with the cleaning of a base building when using a 3D model is if you have blocks with nested blocks, so a block and a block, you'll get things like this. So you notice this line here is a different color than here. These are actually the same finishes, but this block here has something nested in it that's probably of a different layer. So it's getting really confused as to which layer it's actually supposed to apply to. And it's making it really dark and look strange here. And the only way to fix that is to actually go into your CAD plan and get rid of those nested blocks. And if we clean our base building, you shouldn't have that problem. The model will come in, it will be smaller, it will be easier to manage, applying your finishes to, and it will apply the finish properly. So there's a lot of power in cleaning your CAD plans, and there's a lot of power within CET of how you can utilize those CAD plans, whether it's for a 2D base building to understand your sizing and locations, or whether you're bringing in a 3D model to show something off and really get that rendering and the fly-throughs or a Ulio experience. You do also have the ability to export. So this is really great. So you can draw out your plan. You can export into 2D. You can also export into 3D. So when you go to your export options, pick a place, you can expand your advanced settings. And you can control how your 2D and 3D exports here, and you can pick what you want to export from here. Do you want to export just 2D, just 3D, both, even your paper views? Can be brought into AutoCAD, and this could be helpful if maybe a client or somebody has asked for an AutoCAD export, or like we was talking about earlier, if you have that larger plan that has a whole furniture and walls and you're trying to keep them separate, you could export your walls file out into an AutoCAD plan and then import it into your furniture plan to use as a base building so that you can keep checking and planning your space and keeping up to the edits that are happening in both files, and make them more easy to work in so they're not huge. Again, you could also maybe export something out and use it as a 3D model somewhere else. So those things can be utilized in several different ways to help things out for you. The next one I want to talk to you about is the RevLink extension. So this is something you can get if you go into your CET Designer website and sign into your MyConfigura account. If you hover over the top here, you'll get this drop down. And here in the marketplace is where you're going to find a variety of different extensions that are available to you. RevLink is one of them. It is free for you to download and use. What this does is allows you to import and export Revit files off of what you have drawn, or bring in the client file to be used maybe as a base building. Word of warning, any exports out of here is just exporting a dumb like 3D symbol. It's not going to be smart. like what you have in CET, and you may find that the quality, so the lines may look a little jagged once you put it into Revit. So it might not be the best of quality. If you're looking for something maybe to give to a client so that they can do some space planning of their own, it works really great. If they're looking to do a rendering in Revit, I would recommend actually either building your own or contacting your manufacturers and seeing if they have any pre-built Revit symbols that can be brought in here or given to your client instead, so they have something more of a presentation quality. This was really more for exporting in and out to give you representations. But it's not the perfect quality, so keep that in mind if you are using the RevLink. If you've never used this extension before and you're not sure kind of how this all works out, go back to that My Configura website, and again, hover over up here at the top and go into the Support Center. And in here, you can find all kinds of instructions and video tutorials on how to do things. You can just type here in the search, I'm just going to put RevLink, and you can find there are video tutorials, there are instructions for how to set for the settings, various different things on how you can utilize this tool. There's all kinds of other helpful videos and things on here, especially, you know, that last 11.0 core came out. I know a lot of you really struggled with that 2D view clip. This is 11.5 is coming out, so if there's something you're not sure of how to use, especially with that new update, this is a great place. Type in whatever it is that you're looking for or you're having troubles with. Do a search and you'll find, I have yet to find the thing that I haven't been able to get any help with on here. So utilize this when you need help, especially with those updates and you're not really sure maybe how something quite works yet. Take advantage of their support. Next thing I want to talk about, SketchUp. SketchUp is really great. You can import, export, again, extension you can download. The 3D warehouse for SketchUp, there is a ton of stuff in here that you can go through and search for and download. You can bring in models of your own. If you have SketchUp or you're good with it, you can even build your own models and bring them into CET and use those as well. So with this extension, you can go to the warehouse or you can import your own files to be used in here as well. I do find my SketchUp models get to be really heavy. There's a lot of information in them, and sometimes that can really slow down my drawing too. What I have found that has helped me is, for instance, this model here. This was actually built in SketchUp. And then what I did is I exported out of SketchUp into 3D CAD, and then I cleaned up the CAD. Probably took me about 10 minutes to clean up the CAD out of there. And then I brought it into here, and it cut my file size down almost in half, and it made it so much easier to work with this in here. So keep that in mind when you're doing SketchUp, that is an option for you too, to keep those file size down, especially if you have a lot of stuff going on in there. It can be something that can help you get around those. And again, applying finishes to it, it will just come in as a black model, but use that Material Explorer to apply the finishes to this model. Another option you have is to bring in a PDF. Oftentimes when I'm doing especially a bid, all they give me is a PDF package of what they want, and they won't give me any AutoCAD until we've won the bid, which totally understandable. That's the way things work. But what if I'm in a super hurry? I don't want to have to bring a PDF in AutoCAD and then try and clean that to make it manageable, especially since everything's always on 1 or 2 layers. It takes me way more time, especially if I'm on a time crunch and I need to get that bid proposal in. What I'll do is I'll actually import a PDF in here and use that as my CAD background. Whether I'm using it for furniture, walls, whatever, this is a helpful tool. So this can be done through your Tools tab under the Image and Text section. So you're going to import it just like you do an image. You're going to put your square in, and you're going to double click on it to locate your document. If it's a PDF and it has multiple pages, like the one that I'm about to open, this allows you to select which specific page you want to import. You're probably not going to import them all. If it is a large package, like maybe I would say if it has more than 10 pages, it will take a few minutes to load to get to this window. So don't start canceling it. It'll take longer. Just let it load. Go grab a coffee if it's taking a couple minutes. And then you can come in here and pick out the different sections that you want and hit insert to apply it. Once it's inserted, you do have the ability to also scale it once it's inserted. Keep in mind when scaling that it is still a PDF and it will not be 100% perfectly scaled. You may have one section right on, but then the space beside it is maybe like 1/4 of an inch off. So take those sizings, as with any PDF, anything, with a grain of salt. It's just how it imports in. So once it's in here, you can select the page, use your quick properties to go measure and scale. This will allow you to add a dimension. So if you've already got dimensions here like I do, I can add a dimension right over that string, and I can type in the dimension that is written there, hit enter, and it will update the scale of the plan. Do be cautious. As soon as you do that, your dimension that you placed will go away. So it did scale, just that dimension is not there. If you wanted it to stay, use your dimension tools and you can add it in there. Like I say, this won't be 100% perfect, but it'll give you what you need as a starting point to get you off and running to start specifying your product to what you need. Without having to spend a lot of time cleaning a base building and doing other things just to try and get a product out. It can be helpful in other ways. It can add images in here to contribute to your renderings or to be reference documents. Maybe you've put it down here to show what your typicals are, so you have it here as a reference. If you use this as a base building, you've drawn on it, once you've run it, do either try and get the AutoCAD plan that was used to create the document, or export it into AutoCAD and clean it up so that you do have a proper plan so that you can scale things and size out your site dimensions, especially with architectural products. If they're connecting into the base building, site dimensions are really important to make sure that you are ordering the correct sizing. Other CET tools that are available to you, your walls drawing and your architectural extensions here. These allow you to draw out walls. So I can draw out my architectural wall. So this could be used for gypsum walls. They could also be customized and created and drawn to match what a pod system or another architectural system may look like, so that you can make it look how it will in real life, or use it as a representation. It could be done through materials. It can be done by adding doors and windows. So this extension does have door and window tools that allow you to add things in here and customize this to whatever you want or whatever your plan calls for. So this can be another tool for creating the space or putting in those products that maybe are not available to you, or it can be the way to round out the whole rest of your plan to make it a holistic design and ensure when you're doing those renderings or checking things that you're showing off everything that's capable. There are pillar tools in here, ceiling tools, and those same DWG drawing tools for drawing walls are also available within this tab as well. There's also the architectural tab. This allows you to add things like carpets and wall coverings. This is also where you're going to find levels. If you're going to fully build up a whole structure, the levels tools here can allow you to do that and work your categorizations, showing your floors. Other things are also in this tab. Through the marketplace, if you go back to the Configura webpage, go back a couple. In your marketplace, there are lots of free extensions. If you start going through, so there's accessories, and there's a lot of these in your building section that is also available to help you start rounding out those scenes. So this one, I really like this electrical one. There's stairs. All these things are free. There are other things through here as well to help you with your presentations. There's that Ulio extension. Editing graphics, all kinds of stuff, your symbol libraries. There's lots of things in here that are free for you to download that can help you in your design. So what some of those do, one I really love that not a lot of people know about or use is this symbol library. This has actually been around for longer than I've been using CET. And this houses all kinds of 2D symbols that are standard, industry standard electrical and architectural symbols that can be added to your plan. I use this one a lot, this duplex and receptacle, so that I can add on to my plan where those are actually located. If I can get my thing to work, come on. This way, then you know when as you're planning out, okay, this is where I need to connect in the building. This is where I'm going to plug my light in. This is how my computers are going to be powered. Allows you to show those things on the plan when they might not be in something that you're specifying. Or if you're doing something custom, maybe you can specify it, but not in this condition. These tools allow you to do that. Here we go. So you can place it on your wall. And this is your symbol for the triplex receptacle. So now I can indicate those on my drawing. So there's tons of stuff in here. I use the receptacles a lot. There's also a ceiling height symbol. I use that one a whole bunch, especially with designing with architectural products. You often need to know if you're going into the floor, into the ceiling, what that ceiling height is, and those are not often straight lines. I was working on a project last week where we had over a 10-foot span, there was a 3-inch fluctuation in the bulkhead that was there, which really had an impact on how we specify the product. It's also going to impact how they install the product. So adding things like those ceiling height symbols and indicating those in your drawing is really important, not just for us as specifiers and designers, but also for our installers to know and understand how they're going to install things. Another one that I really love is the electrical extension. And this one allows you to, whoops, wrong one, insert 3D symbols. So just like I place the 2D, now I can also come in here and pull out an electrical 3D symbol. It does automatically snap to your walls, which is really helpful. So now I can show not only in 2D, but in 3D that I have something there, which does get really important when you're working on those interactions. How are things powered? How does the technology incorporate into the plan? There are lots of other ones as well, like stairs, the structurals, building materials. There's all kinds of things that are out there that you can also start incorporating to round out your designs and show everything like it really is. Yeah, those presentations are becoming so important that if you're selling it or not, even just showing it is going to make a huge difference in what your clients are seeing. There are lots of other tools that CET has to help you really fill out your plans as well. So things like elevations, details, those when you're showing both and incorporating both, if you are specifying the architectural products, these are super important, not just for your clients, for the architects, and for your installers to understand what's going on and how things are being put together. So you do have in that symbols library, you even have an elevation tool right here. This will create an elevation of the 3D in your plan so that you can actually go and show what that looks like. Now again, this is going to create it off of the 3D. So if there's stuff drawn in 2D, it's not going to show 2D. It's only going to show 3D. And then you end up getting things that look a little bit like this. So it's going to create that 3D graphic, this part here, and I can start adding additions to it using the dimension tools and my text and my leader lines, so that I can start rounding out these things and adding in that additional information that you don't really need to provide for your ancillary or furniture, but for incorporating architectural products starts getting a little more important when you're spec checking or showing things to an installer. Things like your ceiling height or where something is located, like your door. So take advantage of those tools. So there are your dimension tool up here at the top, as well as in that tools tab. It's really got everything. There are other additional dimensioning tools in here, your angles, and of course this one is my favorite. A continuous dimensioning tool, especially with often in architectural products, we might have a string of offices like here where I need to dimension between every single one of them. This tool allows me to go from one to the other point, similar to how AutoCAD works, and continue on with that string all the way across without having to exit the place new dimensions, stretch them to align. It takes a lot of steps out. And then I can configure it to the different functionalities that I need it for. So do I want to show dimensions on the side? Do I want to show both imperial and metric? I'm from Canada, so I always show both. You can control these through your styles. So up here at the very top, these are awesome. So me, I have a style set up for my imperial and metric to always show. If you want to get rid of these, of course, you can always use the quick properties too, but you can also utilize all these styles in your tools tab to control how you do these so that they always coming out like that. You can have it as a default style, or you can set them up as different depending on your client. So there's lots of tools to really help you note, dimension, and coordinate those things between the architectural systems and the furniture, and to indicate that information on your drawings. Same thing here, I've got some social distancing circles to indicate those things as well. So there's information that you also want to indicate to your clients. But there are lots of tools around through CET to put those things on your drawing to notify. It's better to have more information than not have enough. Details. Details, again, something a lot is really important when you have architectural product on a plan is to indicate connections. How does it connect to the floor? How does it connect to a ceiling? And how do they connect to each other, both between the architectural product and the furniture? So you can utilize that import CAD and draw your details in CAD and bring them in here if you don't already have detail creation tools available to you through your manufacturer extensions. So I can start bringing those things in and displaying them directly onto my plan so that I can communicate to clients, architects, installers, what those types of connections actually really look like. And I can indicate using those handy dandy draw tools. I can create circles and lines, again, if you don't already have something that exists in your extension today, to add in things like my details and my detail markers to connect them to a traditional architectural drawing set of drawings and communicate, again, to your clients, architects, and installers where those details actually take place for their installation purposes. Column balloons can also be utilized. So these little guys up here, this is a new tool that came out, I believe it was last year. A lot of times on your base building plan, there will be grid marks. Sometimes you have to follow them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes installers, especially in your new construction, use those balloon lines and those grid lines to determine the location of your product and where it's going to be located. So it's not a bad idea to add them on there. If you have them on your plan already, you can leave them. You can also utilize these tools and start adding in your own. so you have a consecutive tool. This is pretty common for architectural products that they might want their walls to always align to grid line 2. So this is a really nice way to put them on your drawing, edit them as you needed, add in your own values, as well as have something look nice and uniform across all of your CET and styles, so you're not just having a couple of different things that you are looking at. There has been a lot of updates, especially with the 11.0 core that came out, to things like your viewports and your visibility settings that help us manage our projects between architectural and furniture products. So a lot of those, what I found really helpful is the new categories. Has really allowed things to be separated, especially between furniture product and architectural product. If you check in your visibility settings, there are updated categories. So these are all the new categories, and architectural product even has their own individual one. If you expand that, it really gets into the nitty-gritty of the different systems, so that product already in an extension or adding in new things can also be assigned to one of these categories and allow you a lot of control, whether it's something, a table or a chair, or a wall. You can categorize it and allow you a lot more control and flexibility within your layouts to really start coordinating. There are going to be times where you're going to show everything, and there are going to be times where you want very focused information, such as an installation drawing, where if everything's all together all the time, it gets really hard to read, where you may want to go through here and have 3 different views depending on which part of the design or the installation drawing you're trying to focus on, to clean it up, make it easy to read and understand. Having those different visibilities allows you to easily turn on and off the things that you do and do not want to see. There's also all these add-ons over here. If you're still getting used to this and learning how to use it, go to that help center, check out 2D view clips. There's a lot of helpful information on there on how all these tools work. Here's that they can, go black and white, different scales, showing tags. There's all kinds of wicked features in here that can really up how you show things in your plans. My personal is I usually show something with like a normal view that shows everything together, and then I start breaking it down into its individual sections. I lost my visibility here, but this one was showing just furniture, and then these just start getting into breaking down the installation or just the architectural product on its own to start displaying some more of its detailed information. How you do things is typically up to you and the product you are specifying, but those categories really make it easy to control the different views and the information that I want to be showing. The next thing here, this is the revision history extension. This is, again, a free extension from the marketplace that you can download to help you keep track of your revisions and give you a nice uniform way of going in here. Do know if you're copying this between some files, it does need to be updated and refreshed. So if this is on a template and there's information on there and then you copied the file, just come back and check it and make sure that it has updated or there isn't old information in there. I really like this one, especially if I am doing the furniture and the walls in two different files. This, whether you're using the extension or just adding in your own text box in here to add in revision notes, these become really key if you're working off of 2 different files. So you can start tracking, okay, who did this and when did they do it and who did it, who made a revision. So if I updated something on the walls, I'm definitely going to want to make sure that I've communicated that to on the furniture drawing or communicated that to the person who's doing that so that they can adjust their drawing accordingly. Maybe we need to marry them up and check them. Maybe we need to perform a new export, but we know something has changed on either one of the drawings, who changed it and what they changed and when they changed it, so that you can keep up that coordination. If you are working in 2 different files, especially if 2 different people are doing it, those revisions can be key. And I've made that mistake before, where I didn't check the revisions and we changed the size of a conference table but neglected to change the size of the room. Caused a lot of space planning problems later. So it does really help you to quickly, instead of having to always overlay and look over what's different, where is this thing, I can check my revision notes and go, okay, Jimmy made this change on the 8th and I can tell exactly what he changed and I can focus in on that area, or I know who to ask or who to go to and I know when it happened, so I can coordinate how things need to be married up and when.
5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. So just to wrap up here, we've talked a bit about presentations. Again, whether you are just putting in a wall to make it look like you have a rounded space, or if you're putting it in there because you're selling it and you're specifying the product. Same thing with furniture and vice versa. Fill out the space, create an actual space, put in your architectural walls, put in that furniture, make up their space, and take advantage of the power of this photo lab. It can do so much. If you haven't seen them, the renderings and videos from this year are testament to that alone, of how amazing the renders are and videos that come out of this program. Take advantage of it, build up that scene. There are a lot of clients and things right now that can't go to that mock-up and they can't go check out the showroom. COVID has really changed everything, so make them take this tool and make them an experience. Take the time and give them that space, take the time to develop that rendering, make that video, create that 3D experience. Ulio, if you don't know what that is, check out their session. I believe they have one more today. Or go onto their website. There's some amazing experiences that you can have by taking your renderings from CET and putting it into Ulio. Make an experience, show them, incorporate stuff together, take advantage of these tools. And again, I know this takes time. Something that I found really helpful is custom presets. If you go into your simple mode, I have a few in here already of rendering presets of mine that work really well. That these are reusable files. You can create your own. You can create yours and use that same, go back to your advanced, create your own settings, and you can go add it to your custom presets. Then you can use them, and these files can also be shared with everyone else within your dealership as well, so you're all working off the same presets. Something else that I found helpful is I've actually created space templates. So what I mean by that is I've drawn up a generic office floor plate with ceilings, lights, windows, all kinds of things, so that to easily get a rendering, all I do is I would take this file, copy all my stuff, save them as a favorite, and I just drop it into that floor plate that I have pre-set up already, and I can apply a finish to the architectural walls and the floor to mock what their space looks like and create a really quick rendering. I don't have to build up a whole bunch of space. I already have one pre-developed to create those things and get those experiences going faster. And again, it's something we all use. We all have, I think we have 4 or 5 different templates for different things, whether it's a large office or whether you're just trying to show a singular space. Whether you have fluorescent lights, pot lights, we have a few different of them, so that it's really easy for you to just copy a favorite, plop it in, move my camera in my rendering window, and then hit render, and I'm on my way, and I don't have to spend a lot of time constantly building up spaces, or I can just make minor adjustments where I need them to adapt it to a new space. When working with a lot of these files, especially renderings. I usually keep 2 files, one for ordering, one for rendering, because I typically like to make custom materials and things like that to really make the space look more photorealistic. So you can take a look at the renderings this year and how much doing things like that can really take your rendering up that notch that it needs from being just a visual rendering to something that's photorealistic. There are lots of other presentations on using these different tools throughout the rest of the week. Go check them out as they will get more in depth in how you can use these things. And I am just going to close it off here.
Christy, there are 2 questions.
Yes.
The first one from Kelly says, instead of RevLink, are you now using the IFC extension instead? I know it's something, but it seems to work better.
I actually haven't even tried it, which I'm probably going to have to go do that tonight. When instead of using the RevLink, like if I need something that has that looks better, the manufacturer I work for, actually we have symbols for pretty much everything already drawn out in Revit. So if I need those, I'll usually just go take our Revit symbols and plop them in there instead.
Awesome, thank you. And then there's one more from Yadira. Do you need to have the PDF extension to import a PDF, or will it be done just as an image like you showed us?
You don't need to have the extension. It just comes in just like an image like I showed you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christy. This was super helpful.
Oh, thank you.